Hello everyone and welcome to a tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro. This tutorial will be mainly for teachers who are looking to teach their young students on how to get started with Adobe Premiere. Before you get started with Premiere Pro, this is something that I do with my students at school. It is basically on your desktop. Encourage your students to create a file called Premiere Pro. And basically within the files create within the folder create 5 different subfolders that has these headings on it. So the first one is for projects, to save any of your Premiere Pro work, any of the projects that are currently being worked on. Number 2 for footages, so any footages that are you're recording or you get from the internet or that are your own work, that footage can go in there. Any audio files that you either download or get externally can go into the audio files folder. And graphics will be GFX, so you can put any graphics that you find externally into that as well. And any projects that you have exported can go into the export file to show that it's been finalized. One of the main things you need to be clear about Premiere Pro is to not confuse the students when they start. And it's so easy to do it because, as you can see the screen, there's so many layers, so many different areas that students wouldn't have been exposed to within other programs in Adobe or other video softwares as well. It's good to start with the default options that are available. One of the main things I would explain to the students would be the different parts of the Premiere Pro. So for example, here you've got a media area here where you can import media to get started. You've got the timeline here where you'll see the timeline of the videos showing, which I will show you in a minute. You also have the source here. So if a video is selected, the source of that video will appear here where you can edit. You will also have a programming one as well. So I know it's a little bit confusing, but we will go through that in a minute. So it's really important for students to know there are different parts to Premiere Pro, and so that they don't get confused with it. Another thing is Adobe has given the options to show tutorials. So if you're under the learning tab, it's really cool to look into Premiere Pro tutorials, especially the ones that are like learning the basics. For example, there could be really good resources for your students, or even really good homework for the students to look into and get some notes written down before they get started with this. So one of the main things I'd like to show you now is to import your media in there. So for example, I'm just going to be selecting a file here. So I'd like to go with Head Full of Dreams. Just drag that all the way down and drag it down to your media section here, and you can see that the Coldplay song has come into play here. One of the most important things you need to notice is over here you can see that there is 2 different icons. The purple one is to show that there is a video available, and you can see that the green one is representing the audio file in there. Now once you've got it here, you can then move it onto your timeline, okay, and you can see the video preview showing up here where you can play the video, and you can see the timeline showing here where you got the video on the top, which is opposite to V1, which is your first video, and you got audio at the bottom where you can see the audio waves, and there it's against audio 1. So it's really important to show the students the 2 different layers, but also important to show that they're representing video 1 and audio 1, but they work simultaneous to each other. Just so.
I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible.
Other things that you need to let the students know is that when you're editing, which is what we'll do next, is you need to go from the learning tab here into the editing phase here. This will basically just remove any tutorial showing up on the side and give more space to work with, and make sure to edit with all the options available. So in order to edit a part of a video, or you'd like a part of the video to only be picked up, what you'd like to do is you want to use the left hand side here, where you can use the source of the video and just extract what you'd really want from that video. So I'll show you how this is done. One of the best ways I like to do is, if I just cancel this, if you want to start from the beginning again, you want to bring it over here, and here you can see that there is very similar options to here. What you can see here is there is one that says to drag video only and one that says to drag audio only. So if I would just want to see the video, I'll just drag this one to the timeline, and you can notice that there is no audio file showing underneath in audio 1. You can just see that the video is being shown, so I'll show you that there's no audio behind it. Okay, so once that is done, you can see how that is different. Now, to show you another example of a video, an audio only, I'm just going to grab another video here. So I'm going to just grab the second video here, drag it into my collection of media, and I'm just going to drag this one, like I did before, back to the editing panel, and I'm just going to play it just to make sure I've got everything in here. So I'm just going to make that fit as well, and this time I'm just going to grab the audio only. And because, let's move it over here, and because the audio doesn't have a video, I can move it under the other Coldplay song, and now it's just going to show an audio for different video available. Now, one of the other things I forgot to mention was within your panel here, your section here, there's ways you can zoom in, which is giving more details of your timeline, or you can zoom out to see the whole project. So this is a really handy thing for students to see the whole work, and you can zoom out as much as possible, or you can use your cursor if you're a Mac user, to zoom in and zoom out to show the bigger version or the tiny bits of the project. This comes in handy when you're editing the work, in a really nitty-gritty, second-based moments, or if you wanted to delete, cut and paste projects, it's really good to see it on a wider angle.